Welcome to the second semi-final in Sudden Disaster 2. Shout out again to T-West, John Slow, and their team. Also Microsoft for sponsoring this with 10K. It's been a great tournament, and it might be coming home. Here in the blue, we've got Lewis. Lewis I consider to be really solid in these settings. And his defense has been so sharp. He beat Sebastian, he beat Barles, he beat Valis, he beat all these players he would consider to be maybe more aggressive than him, maybe have better overall career than him. But over the last few years, Lewis has been rising up. Can't wait to see him in Titans League Season 5 in Platinum. And he's gone for the Burmese here. Now, he's up against Hart. If it was standard settings where you could build the second and third town center and whatnot, I would say Hart 4-1, Hart 4-0. And I don't even think Lewis would maybe disagree with that. Never mind. Lewis maybe has a little bit more confidence in that. But my point is, I don't know about these settings right here. When you're locked to one TC, I think that Hart's going to have a lot of patience here. It can't be like aggression into expanding your eco with multiple town centers like a normal game. So if you destroy their town centers, it's game over. They're defeated. But Hart does have the civilization that the last couple rounds we've seen in this tournament has always won if it goes late. It can build the Fatorias. No other civ can do that. A trickle of all resources. You can't compete. You're dead. So I think Lewis will have to be aggressive. And what I would expect is a lot of clowning here. I think Spearman Monk with Burmese is incredibly strong. Spearman to protect from scouts. That may not come from the Portuguese. So Lewis may actually be tempted to just commit to pure monks here. Yeah, Hart's style is to get small advantages and build up. And a way to typically get small advantages is to add economy. That's like literally half of Age of Empires 2 is expanding the eco, if not more than that, especially on a map like Arena. But relics matter so much more now because you can't drop the additional TCs. And then Fatorias matter so much more now. But I would expect Lewis to go monks. I just don't know. Both players could pretty much do everything, but I don't know if either player is super comfortable above 6 to 8 monks. It's not like freaking Andy who's waiting in the finals. I mean, you start to get to those numbers with monks. Andy's super comfortable there, so. But I like the draft planning here from Lewis. Burmese is not a very high priority pick. This is actually perfect for the first game as the underdog. If you lose this game, you're expected to, because this is a late pick against one of the best civs. But if you win this game, it feels like 1.5 victories. Taking down the Portuguese early would feel very good. Melon PT, thanks for the prime. Thank you, everybody. And shout out to everyone on YouTube, of course, later on. Pretty relaxed start to the series here. Some of these maps can be crazy. This one's just pretty chill. We haven't seen any foxes get pushed in. Looks like we've got an Arctic version. So we've got some Arctic foxes out there that have some gold. Kind of looks a little wolfy from the front, but I'm not really a fox expert. I guess these are the wolves. Wolves do look a little bit bigger anyways. You could see both players go to stone for their unique units, like the Arambai or the Organ Gun. But I'd be a little bit surprised by that just because their bases are so far apart. And that is pretty taxing on your eco. Alright, so somebody wanted me to make a video on monks. Right, is that person still here? If they were here, they could have brought it up. Here we go. We have Lewis pushing in a fox again. Okay, so we've got the time now. Because I'm not making a video on the complexities of monk technologies because I have a lot of other things on the list. But I could just talk about kind of the basic ones, okay? And I want to talk about the basic ones in Imp because the other techs... Well, screw it. We've got the time. You don't need to see a fox die. Whatever. So, Redemption, you can convert siege and buildings. You guys probably are aware of that. Atonement, you can convert other monks. Heresy is rare. If you end up researching Heresy, all your units die. Those are like kind of the big ones. I guess there's also Devotion. So Devotion, your units resist conversion. But in Imp, there's really 3 that are kind of the priority. And Portuguese don't actually get one of them. So one's Illumination. It's like a no-brainer. You have to get it if you have multiple monks and imp. These 3 techs. So you get monk units or monastery units regain their faith 100% faster. That's Illumination. Theocracy, if this is arguably more important, if a group of monks convert an enemy unit, only one of the monks must rest afterwards. That's huge because you don't want to accidentally use all your monk juice on one unit. And then the other's range, which is block printing. So that's my video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Hope that was very informative. But basically, I'm just going to make it very simple. If you have monks in imp, always get those 3 techs. Always get Theocracy, Illumination, and block printing. And honestly, if they could have like a buy 1, get 2 free deal or something, or if they could, like, the way I view it is I just get all 3. I don't even think about it. So instead, I don't even view it as 3 separate techs that cost 150 gold each. I just think I need to spend 500 gold on all 3 of those techs. So that's my advice to you. But not every civilization gets those techs. So in the case of Portuguese, I didn't actually know until this moment they didn't get Illumination. I'll be real with you. So, you know, we learned something. And Burmese have the cheaper monk techs, so that's where the Burmese can really shine. They don't get access to heresy, but all their monk techs are 50% off. So if you have more questions on that, feel free to ask. Hart is dropping an archer range, which is not the common play. So almost seems like he's going to play crossbow. There's also a slight chance he could consider cav archers. Will Lewis expect this? If anything, I think Lewis is going to build a barracks and add spearmen. Hart's hiding the range, obviously, so Lewis would think either organ guns or he would think light cav. But I'd be thinking organ guns, and if I was thinking organ guns, I wouldn't add the spears. He is going to add the spears. So there's this build we've seen a couple times. I've seen it from Sebastian against Tato. I've seen it with Hera against Tato. Bengalis are best at it. Burmese are second best at it. It's just a couple spears to protect, 2 monasteries in the middle, all in monks. And it's great against the light cav meta, as those spears protect. But archers, I mean, Hart is pretty actively scouting right now. If he catches Lewis walking to the middle, even 3 archers could give him a massive lead here, especially if Lewis doesn't get loom. How do you control group your monks, and do you know how freaking Andy does it? Yeah, you select individual units, and you do control 1, control 2, control 3, control 4, control 5, control 6, control 7, control 8, control 9, control F5, control F6, control F7, control F8, control F9, control F10, control F11, control F12, and there you have it. You have 15 different numbers, and then it's monk click, 2 click, 3 click, 4 click, 5 click, 6 click, 7 click, 8 click, 9 click. You can basically just, like, you know, you got to click all the separate numbers and click all the different targets, and then all of a sudden you're from Sweden and your name is Ganji. Crazy. So yeah, that's basically the commitment. I know in Ganji's case, he has like all of his F keys. They're not bound to anything, so he's removed his F keys from being functional in other ways. That way he can actually have even more numbers. Now, what Lewis has done here is really good against what he's up against. Again, he doesn't take risks, which is why I think he's great in these settings. He doesn't move out to the middle, right? If he moved out to the middle, Hart would have found them. He actually builds his monasteries here. I think Hart's going to go for a siege tower. We do have a siege workshop for him, but the crossbows don't even have fletching yet. I don't love crossbows showing themselves here until you have the numbers, but he didn't want Lewis to get the relics.
Okay.
And Lewis will see the crossbows now. Now Lewis knows. It's huge that Lewis saw this before losing anything. Curious on if he's going to expect a siege tower. Lewis could possibly get this relic into his base, but he might not be able to put it into the monastery. Now Hart sees it. Will Hart go for a siege tower? This has been the tournament of siege towers. This isn't a very Hart thing to do. And the other relics are still out there. And Hart will look to collect them. Slight eco lead for Hart to be expected, but nothing major. And now there's a mangonel from Lewis to defend from the crossbows that still don't have fletching. So I think Hart could lose crossbows to the conversions there. Wow, he's really lucky. He's extremely lucky. Fletching's on the way for Hart. And there's the siege tower. Okay, guys, here we go. Siege tower meta. They made it cheaper. And also this tournament then started, and it's pretty strong with crossbows and infantry against monks. But, I mean, Lewis is going to have 3 relics, and Lewis is cooking with his eco. It's looking really good. He's got better upgrades. 3 relics, he can just chill. At least for a little while. Hart's still chasing back this scout. Lewis will fall back and heal it up with all of his monks. And there's the siege tower on the right side. Hart will get his first relic now. Both players will focus over on the relic on the left. Nice work from Hart. He's tracking this. He also has the spear. Nice work from Lewis as well. I think it's very likely Hart gets this relic. And, I mean, it's so risky to go into your opponent's base with the siege tower when they have a siege workshop. He doesn't know there's a siege workshop, though. And as Hart kills that, if he doesn't know, and the siege is advancing forward from Lewis, Lewis has lost a monk. Hart needs to delete that, and he does. The crossbows could go in, and Lewis could get completely caught out by this. Lewis doesn't have any more siege. Lewis sees it! Surprise! And here come the crossbows. Lewis will go for conversions. Will the monks go down? I'm guessing they will. Hart can't get back. He kills the monks. The siege is out of position for Lewis, and Lewis is going to have to leave his main gold. He has no loom, and this is so good from Hart. Actually, the siege tower is really strong just to get next to the monks and snipe them. It's risky to run in here, but he takes the risk. He snipes some villagers. His army will most likely die. There's a very slight chance that as Lewis comes home with his spearmen, Hart can save himself, but Lewis will never let that happen. Lewis would never let that happen. Lewis would never let that happen. Lewis would never let that happen. Lewis is a lot to look at right now. He's losing the monks. Hart knows his army will die. And Hart even deletes the crossbows. And now we'll try and roll away with his siege tower. We'll see if he makes it home. I think that could have been worse for Lewis. He only lost 2 villagers. He still has 3 relics. But Hart will consider that worth it in some ways. I think losing your army mass is never good. Lewis didn't lose... I guess he did lose a decent amount of units, but he still has a lot of monks anyways. Hart misclicked a cav archer. Hart will drop more ranges. Hart will get redemption now to convert siege. And yeah, Lewis just has to fix his eco a little bit here. Yeah, killing the monks was good there for Hart. You could see the value destroyed. He destroyed more value. And both players will think about Imperial Age now. Siege Tower being saved is a pretty big deal, though. Because you can roll up with a full HP Siege Tower, get close, hop out, shoot a monk, get back in. It's risky, but it can work. The reason I think Lewis is good for this tournament, though, guys, is because he's just super solid and he never takes risks. And I think we're at that stage now. You got to be super solid, and you do not take risks. He's probably the least sudden player remaining in the tournament, or the least sudden player in the final 8. But let the other players be sudden. Let the other players do the crazy stuff and defend from that, and then you can win the game. Redemption's already in for Hart. And there's also Atonement now. You cannot put monks in siege towers. Would love to see Hart repair the siege tower and at least act as if he's going to use it here. Lewis is trying to break through here. Remember, if he gets a castle down on the front and goes for Trebs, he can take down Hart's castle and then take down Hart's PC and then win the game. Hart getting housed quite a few times here. A little rusty. Hart 3 ODO. I said well played and asked him a couple questions afterwards. And he said he didn't think he played well. He hadn't played AoE in a week, and he felt it. And I think that should tell you how disgustingly good he is. If he hadn't played the game in a week, and then he 3-0'd Mr. Yo. I'm actually... Disgust is the proper word, because that's insane. That's not even fair. Alright, Hart's idling his TC to click up to Imp. Hart has to be careful here. Lewis has not seen the monks with these upgrades yet. And Hart's ready to convert just as Lewis is about to build the castle. And Lewis was not ready for this. He does have atonement, but there's still crossbows here as well. Lewis! 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 Wait, did he just convert his siege back? Wait a second. What happened? I thought Hart had a mangonel. I think he converted his siege back. And that saves him there. His castle's still on the way up. That could have been game ending. It's still nice for Lewis to have this position. Hart's still 2 minutes away from him, but also well played from Hart, who's killed so much this game. But the castle is key. That castle went up on the front. Hart has big problems. At least now the Trebs have to sit a bit further forward. Lewis will get more monk upgrades. He's continually churning out monks, but he does not have an eco that can transition into other things here. Luckily, that's not really that big of a concern when he has this civilization. Monks and Trebs can win the game. Hart, repair the siege tower. You freaking hamster, okay? Repair the siege tower, fill it with 10 crossbows, and roll around out here. Roll around out here. The monks can't convert the tower from range. Ooh, Mangonel goes down. Telling you, like, now that Mangonel's down as well, it could be really strong. I think he's forgotten about the siege tower. And he's now under some insane pressure. First Trebuchet's already out, but Lewis, he has to protect it. And he has to protect it with a consistent threat of conversions. Now Hart will be an imp. Now Hart's getting Bracer. He'll also get chemistry for bombard cannons, which will be a little bit risky. No Fatorias for Hart. He doesn't have the eco for that. They're still pretty expensive. Lewis is all in here. Hart showing some patience. Very close game. Lewis wants another castle right next to this to protect the Trebs, which is a big play, but it's a risky play. But you got to take the risks, right? It might not go up, but I like the risk taking here. This is what I'm talking about with sudden death. It didn't see a ton of this from Lewis against Sebastian. But against Hart, he's trying to be the aggressor here. And Hart can't get in close, and Hart could lose his castle. That's a great move from Lewis. And then he's not too far removed from taking down the town center. Castle is being trebbed right now. Mangonel gets taken out. Ram is also there. But there's so many monks, and Lewis has them numbered. Hart backs away. Hart will run out of stone. Hart could lose his castle. If Hart loses his castle, he could be cooked. Also, the siege workshop that was going to produce bombard cannons will go down. Hart is one treb. Hart's in trouble. Telling you though, guys, siege tower would allow you to roll in underneath the castle and near these monks and maybe have a shot at taking it out. Hart's about to lose his TC. Bombard cannons are on the way. Hart is prepping repair villagers here. He has to take care of those monks. He needs atonement to do that. Trebs are on the TC. Hart has atonement come in a little late. The bombard cannons here could be converted by Lewis. He sees it. The bombard cannon will be converted. The bombard cannon is converted. The TC's on the way down. Hart needed that cannon, man. Repair. Lewis wins. Consistent play from Lewis with the monks, and the plays on the front there with the castles and the Trebs was key. Well played. And Lewis takes the first game. I think Hart fell into the same situation that other players have against Lewis, where you feel like if you just sit back and play kind of safe, that it plays towards Lewis's strengths. He tried to be creative. I think the crossbows had potential, but Hart needed a slightly better engagement right when this castle was going up. Even though it wasn't as forward as Lewis wanted, it was still the key. Also, I feel as though utilizing the siege tower in that position can actually change how that plays out. We've seen it from Nikov and others. Siege tower was forgotten back here on 19 HP. If that gets repaired and all the crossbows are in a siege tower right here, they roll in, they sit next to it, they're getting the kills. I think that castle actually gets denied. But it was a clutch conversion here from Lewis just to replay this. I thought he was dead. And he actually switches a conversion onto this mangonel. Without that... Yeah, without that conversion, which felt like an instant conversion, I think the mangonel for Hart takes down the mangonel here from Lewis. There's 0 mangonels. The crossbow sniped the monks. The castle gets denied, and the game ends. So it really just came down to that moment. What was that conversion timing, though? Let's watch this again. Didn't they make it so if you switch targets, the conversion restarts? Like you can't charge anymore? Watch this. Okay. He just switches now, and then... Yeah, he instas it. So, there's definitely some type of charge aspect where he had already loaded up some conversions on other things there, so... Damn, that was huge. I don't think Hart was expecting it either. So, I'll repeat myself here, but we got double TC start. You have to destroy both town centers to defeat a player. A little drinking game, though. I'm sure in about like 5 minutes, there's going to be someone who didn't hear my intro who's going to ask, do you need to destroy both TCs? That happens every single time. Understandable. Maybe Twitch chat can respond to them if they do ask that. Byzantines for Lewis. This has been the #1 civ on this map. This civ seems basically unbeatable. Cheap Imperial Age, strong castles, and we tend to see forward castles with Byzantines that no one seems to know how to stop. But Hart played with Bohemians in his previous rounds, and he fought back the forward castles with fast bomber cannons. Now there, he had to research early chemistry on the way to Imp. But here, you get chemistry for free when you are in Imp. So I think you can essentially do the same thing. There are some minor differences in how the civs play out. Like, Bohemians have better monks. Bohemians actually have better, like, overall mining of gold and stone. But this is a big one. This is the #1 civ pick for Lewis. And Lewis just beat the #1 remaining civ for Hart. So Lewis wins this. He's feeling like a king. Lewis loses this. We're right back to a 50-50 semifinal. But yeah, I guess... For weeks, I've just been saying, stop allowing Byzantines to just build a forward castle. But I guess the players are so clean, and they're so risk-averse, they won't do anything messy in the middle. So everyone's just like, nope, actually, we're not going to try anything crazy. We're just going to go Imp, expect it, and kill it with bomber cannons. Can the town centers breed and birth a third TC? No, they can't breed. No. That's only slightly less weird than someone genuinely suggesting the other day that you should only be able to produce villagers out of your town centers if you have 2 villagers inside of your town center for a certain period of time. Which I guess is maybe a little bit more realistic, but... And it adds some interesting pros and cons, too. Because it'd be like, if you don't want to produce more vills, you have less idle time. But no, that's not it. It's not how it works. Yeah, you guys, we're having fun with this. Chat, you know what I heard the other day? I have not tested this, but who I heard this from is a trustworthy source. Maybe this bug is public information. But apparently, right now, on the most recent patch, if you are mining stone with Polish villagers, you only get gold income if you are mining stone with a male Polish villager. Has anyone else heard this? So Sebastian played Poles yesterday, and he was mining stone, and I wasn't paying attention to if they were male or female villagers, but apparently that is a bug right now, which hasn't been addressed. So you gotta... That's surprising that Microsoft let that fly. I mean, that's pretty brutal, dude. What does this have to say about Microsoft as a company? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't want to get anyone in any trouble. Obviously, this is a stupid bug. They're going to have to fix that eventually, but that's such a weird bug, man. I mean, we laugh at it. We get annoyed by the bugs, but that's such a specific thing. With some things, like the foxes being pushable, there I'm like, okay, you could have tested that once, and you could have fixed that, I would assume. But something that specific is wild. So we got villagers over here for Lewis, chopping through. Probably shouldn't have brought that bug up amongst a bunch of Twitch chatters, but everyone's responsible here. No one's going to take it too far. That's what I like about this community. Wall over here from Heart doesn't actually protect this relic. So that's not ideal, but did he see it? Oh. Well, that explains it. It is spawned a little further than normal. Normally that relic is over here, so he just gave up on it and got the wall down. Lewis is going to do the same. Again, meta's pretty well established here. So players are usually just walling to the edge of the map on this side, and then walling to the edge of the map here, and then they fight for the middle. I would love to pretend we're going to see anything here but a fast imp, guys. But I doubt we're going to see a fast Imperial Age. In fact, to make it interesting, if we do not see a fast imp from one of these players, I will gift 10 subs to the stream. Just to add a little bit of spice. Because I'm that certain. They are so locked into that build and that meta. I think if anything, we're going to see Lewis build a barracks and a couple spears to protect a castle, but it's still going to be fast Imperial Age. Hard at a crazy uptime last time with the Bohemians, but he was able to... Ooh, no, bro! No! Don't break the meta now! I swear he heard me. He must be stream cheating. He's doing this for the viewers. Maybe his sub expired. What is this? Why now, Hart? I actually, it's sad. I like it. I like the fact that he's considering something a bit different because no one's been freaking doing it. But I put subs on it. It still could be a fast imp. It still could be a fast imp. Calm down, calm down, calm down. It still counts as long as the general game plan is to click imp in a fast sort of way, okay? But this feels like light cav for map control and boom. And you know what's wild is Lewis hasn't gone to stone yet. So Lewis isn't even thinking fast imp forward castle in the same way. So we've got some mind games here. Lewis still no barracks himself. Lewis is in feudal age later. Not that big a deal, of course. Hart has had this slightly better balance, I'd say, in terms of the builds. Hart has not produced anything. He's on the way to castle age now, but he's going to make light cav. You know... Life is all a matter of perspective. And if you really think about it, even if Hart makes light cav, he's still imp way faster than everyone watching this would be. So I don't really think it has to be a standard fast imp. It's still going to be really fast. So I would say this is pretty clearly a fast imp still for Hart. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Lewis walking to the middle, one villager, no protection to build an outpost. Hart can't actually allow that to go up. That's the wild thing, because he can't let Lewis see this. He has to show his hand. It's actually worth it for Lewis. You lose one vill, and you get the information either way. That outpost is huge. Yeah, Hart's going to try and stop this, but he can't stop it with his weak scout, so now he shows his hand. And now Lewis knows, even though the outpost doesn't complete... And wow, that's some crazy quick walling from Lewis. And Hart will focus down that villager, and Hart's probably like, well, crap. Now he won't run forward now. Well, I still don't think that's awful for Hart. It does hurt Hart that he can't get this relic. It does hurt Hart he can't get these relics. And now Hart's going to stone. But he opted for the map control approach first. Lewis, no barracks, no archer range, no plans for map control in the middle. So it'll probably be a defensive castle now. And now Hart will drop the university, and now Hart will think about him. But I think my theory this whole time has been just preventing the castle in the middle is already so good. And that's what this does. So it's not like Arena where you control the relics, but there's so much gold in the middle that's still huge. Lewis is going fast imp. I mean, Hart is technically, but he... If I were to be honest with you on how I presented the bet, he's added some army before it. So I will give 10 subs after this. But I think it's the wise move. What Hart did is really nice. It doesn't delay his imp that much. It's still very, very fast and will be on par with Lewis. So what does Lewis make? He doesn't even have a barracks yet. Villager's still trapped. I would guess that this villager gets deleted in a second once a monk comes out. He's been very late to military buildings. Now he drops the defensive castle. Now he'll drop a barracks. But it's like fast imp into what? You're not going to kill quickly, so it'd probably be trash units, and he doesn't have any gold control. So you would have what's left of this gold, which is 1,500. What's left in his base, which is... I can't click. 4,000. So about 5k gold, which sounds like a lot, but compared to all the gold in the middle, it's not really. And that villager would rather die than join the Turks. And here comes Hart now with villagers to build a castle to lock down the middle. He can make bombard cannons instantly. It is, you know what? These are pretty fast imps. I like this. We have people who are already subscribed petitioning for this being a fast imp. You guys have my back here. This is nice. We'll see. We'll do a poll after this. We'll let everybody vote. How's that? We'll let everybody vote. I'm wobbling back and forth here on my stance on this situation. This is imp before 20 minutes, guys. If that's not fast, I don't know what is. Well, Lewis has the defensive castle, which Hart cannot see. Hart's going to lose the monk. That's the first kill of the game. I guess Lewis had to delete one of his own units, but still, that's pretty crazy value from Lewis. Lewis sees the castle, getting all that information. Hussar upgrades free, of course. Scout could still maybe run away. Hart doesn't know about any of the castles yet. Lewis is getting monk upgrades to convert bombard cannons. There's a big upgrade, though. Artillery. 600 food, 650 gold. That's so expensive. But if Hart can eventually get there, he can actually outrange the monks. Lewis is just going to play defense. Defense, defense, more defense. Hope that he can take out a lot of Hart's gold units and then start a snowball to push the castle back. And castle is starting to get battered down already. But Hart will see the monks. And Hart honestly should just make a couple more trebs. Like maybe one more treb and then... Yeah, monks are actually really difficult to deal with if Lewis has walls. This is open, he can dive with hussars. So you have to be patient here if you're Hart. It's annoying, but you have to be. Lewis also is not chopping this, so he doesn't leave this TC exposed. Hart could maybe treb cut those trees, but that's a very specific thing to think of. Monks move forward from Lewis again. And Hart's losing the siege workshop, so he has to build another one back here. Lewis can make his own bombard cannons once chemistry completes. He already has the trebs. He has lots of monks on the way. He's also prepping spearmen. It's a good game plan. And Hart's hussars will threaten. And now the gate is closed. But now the trebs are exposed. But now the trebs kill a bombard cannon. Even trade, though, because the treb went down. And there's the artillery upgrade. Yeah, okay, so that cost everything for Hart. That was 1,200 res for extra range on what will be 2 bombard cannons. It's still very possible for the monks to get conversions here. Like, this is not just a free win or anything. And now Lewis will move out with confidence, but he doesn't know about artillery. He might realize this. We'll see if Lewis stays here with his trebs. No stone income for Lewis. And Hart needs to repair. Hart does have the stone to repair. He doesn't have many villagers here. Hart's cannons. Kill 2 monks. Range difference. Lewis is always making more monks. If there's one thing I've learned, he will always make more monks. In my opinion, Hart should be firing all the time here. Lewis is still microing the monks. If the castle's down, the monks can move forward. The pathing is really brutal there. The monks taking the risk. And now they back away. Castle's down. Bombard cannons fire. Lewis micros. Yeah, the castle was key. Now the monks can just walk forward. And as I said, you invested 1,200 res into upgrading 3 cannons. If that's not enough, you're in trouble. Another bombard cannon will hop out. That's horrible. That needs to be a delete. He does delete it, but this is going from bad to worse for Hart. Lewis will push him through the middle. And Lewis with Byzantines. Monks, pikemen. Is this the way? Seems like it. I think he's just so good defensively. So good with monks and eco. It's just looking really hard to beat this guy right now. This is the same Hart that 3-0'd Mr. Yo as well, by the way. That has to delete the bombard cannon. Hart's committed to this. He doesn't really have the eco for lots of hand cannons, but he's going to try it. He's not dead yet. And he still has some gold income. Not an incredible amount, but some. And he's one big volley on the monks away from Lewis losing most of them. Lewis really needs to think about other units, but at the same time, he needs to micro perfectly, so not easy. I don't know why Hart's repairing the gate right now. I'm guessing that's a misclick of some kind. Monks, 2 go down. TC is for the taking. You need to destroy both TCs. Hart is repositioning Vills so he doesn't overchop, but there's still a risk of that. Trap goes down for Lewis. The bombard cannons have to back off, though. Devotion's on the way for Hart. His TC is being targeted. He could lose bombard cannons to the Trebs. More monks getting focused down. Lewis is just going for it now. More monks. They get a conversion. TC's still up for Hart. Another monk for a conversion. Monk doesn't die. Monks are OP. It's so difficult. Another conversion. I mean, the monks pay for themselves 10 times over, it feels like. And Hart loses his TC. And he can't stop help. He can't stop help. He'll lose another cannon. All his vills here will die. All his archery ranges, which are making hand cannons, get taken out. Lewis wins 2 straight with monks. And he's got some really good monk civs remaining as well. Very well played. Again, it's like, I find Lewis to be incredibly patient. Incredibly patient. The decision to just say, after he saw the light cav, like, fine, come at me, bro, and just build 2 castles like this was sick. He didn't do anything fancy. He didn't do anything wild. And then he was just super, super clean. The pikemen in front of the monks was helpful, of course, for the hussar threat. And just the Byzantine difference, man. Byzantine difference. Now Hart is down 2 games. He's going to have to find some momentum, and there's some really good civilization still remaining for Lewis. Hart needs to maybe go to a map which is a little less stone wall-y here, guys. We've had 2 games in a row with stone walls. I would say go to Koala, go to at least Wellsprings where you can destroy the stone walls. Do something otherwise, or other than these closed maps against Lewis. This is the type of map that I think Hart needs. This is not the better mule matchup, though. Both these civilizations can make mule carts. I think Georgians are ever so slightly superior. Both these civs can also make the fortified churches, which we've seen a lot of. But the Armenians actually have to build their mule cart. Georgians start with one, so they just have the faster start here. Hart wanted to lame. Lame won't happen. She's going to Zaars all the way back home here. And Hart wants some type of an advantage, but I think he's probably realizing he's no way he's going to be able to stop this boar from being brought in. On the other side, Lewis is actually bringing his scout home. I was concerned for Hart that maybe he had stolen a boar, but he didn't stick around. That would have been sick if he stayed here. He could take the sheep. He could then take the boar. But instead, he came home to play it safe. So it might be a relatively normal opening. I think there's definitely some paranoia for Hart. He's like, please don't tell me I got lamed. Please don't tell me I lost my boar. He should check, but also he's feeling like he needs to push the deer before they get lamed. But I think it's just going to be a deer push fest here. So I think it's even on both sides in terms of sheep and boars. Georgians have the ability to open to feudal age a bit more aggressively after starting with the free mule cart. It's actually just a random turkey down here from Hart. Not sure why that's there. Does he see his boar? He might be thinking that his boar is gone and his sheep is gone right now. He's going to love it when he sees this. Bro. I mean, if he doesn't see it, there's no way he's not going to scout this area. But if he doesn't see it and then Lewis comes forward soon, Lewis could actually take it very late. Hart thinks it's gone. He's factoring his whole build into the fact that that boar is gone right now. But I think he'll go to the other deer and see it, right? Yeah, okay, boar just poked its head out. Boar wants to die. And all right, Hart's like, whoo! Thank God. And here he comes. Maybe he won't find the turkeys, though. T90, remember Battle of Africa 1 where Hart didn't find his elephant in the finals and it survived the game? Yeah, I do remember that. Damn, that was a long time ago. Yeah, I remember quite a few different games where people didn't find their boars in tournaments. But these days, with the way map scripts work, usually things are fine. The other week, it really bothered me. I forget who it was, but I think someone was playing against Mr. Yo? And then he thought his boar was stolen. There was an eagle and a villager forward in his base, but he saw the vill was on full HP, and then he knew the eagle was on full HP, and he never checked. Oh, it was Veleza against Sebastian. That's what it was. And Lewis also missing the turkeys. And Lewis has found the opponent's town center. Nice job, Lewis. Thankfully, his scout does slowly regenerate, but that's a pretty big deal. That's pretty bad as well. Like, he seemed to have a heads up on where certain things were. He saw the relics, but obviously probably a little distracted. And first, you know, I'd say mistake from Lewis this series. It's been pretty solid overall. I'm just like, if things start to go ever so slightly wrong for Lewis, he just does a great job staying consistent and staying in the game. It never breaks him fully, so. But he's going to play this like Arabia. And he's about to drop a barracks here, and Hart will see that, and Hart is going fast castle. So that's big scouting for Hart. To know, or there's a couple details here. He knows it's feudal age because he sees the barracks. Also, there's no risk that this scout will hit feudal age and come kill him because the scout is weak. And then that scout also can't kill an unloomed villager because it's weak. Losing HP on your scout is such a big deal at this level, man. And Hart will go get those walls down. Hart should probably go for the full wall in front of the TC. Will say that if this was Arabia, Lewis versus Hart, I would always prefer Hart. But on this map, we haven't seen Arabia openings a lot over the past 2 weeks. This is how the tournament started, and then everyone just started going fast castle. Hart needs to make sure these walls are down perfectly. Looks like they are, or looks like they're about to be. Does have a gold, does have some stone on the back. And Lewis is going to bring forward some villagers for a tower. Schwandi says, is Lewis equally strong in non-sudden death? I mean, there's not a lot of sudden death tournaments, right? But I would argue that Lewis looks much stronger in sudden death. Maybe much stronger is even harsh because he's a really good player. But he's looked insane in this tournament. This 1 TC scenario has been great for him. Tower's coming up. It's a little casual, but it's better for your eco to do it this way. He just wants to force Hart away from these walls. I think Hart sees the tower foundation. No, he doesn't. Tower will go up. Hart reacts immediately. Tower doesn't do a ton of damage to Hart, who does have Loom anyways. And now Lewis wants through. Hart has to get another layer of walls down fast. Much faster than this. Much faster than this. Much faster than this. And he will do so. Yeah, he's okay. There's 8 food on that bush. Lewis, eat the bush. There's 8 food. Lewis, click the bush. Lewis, you can get through there, dude. That's only 8 food. This is such a rare scenario. I swear, I've checked so many bushes and trees in my career, but it's never enough where you can do it with your forward vills. Lewis. Oh, that's crazy. Maybe he's waiting. Maybe he wants more scouts first. He's not playing it like he knows he can do it. But if he's adding more scouts when he sees walls, I think he might know. Right? He's acting like he isn't aware. Come on, man. Eat the bush. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. I believe in Lewis. Lewis is so observant, it's not even funny. Come on, Lewis. He's not gonna do it. Oh my god. It's such a unique scenario. Hart doesn't notice because he would wall behind it. But yeah, Lewis could start to take that. I guess the second he sees it being taken, Hart will build a house behind it, but that's disappointing. He does wall in the relics. That's a very smart move because we know Hart's going up to Castle Age to get those. And Lewis, nowhere near Castle Age, but has a very healthy eco with lots of farms. We'll add some walls as well. The plan is most likely going to be Warrior Priests for Hart, which is honestly not a unit that I've seen Hart make that frequently in his career. Just like I've never seen Hart make a siege tower from game number 1. I love the outpost from Lewis. We now have a barracks from Hart, so maybe it's going to be for a couple spearmen. And Lewis is chilling. He has way better food economy than his resources suggest, because he has 8 vills in queue. It's a T90 the bush connoisseur. What? Get your mind out of the gutter. We're talking about a forage bush. That's 2 vills forward. They could take that no problem. Freaking chat, man. The spears are on the way. You do get a free relic if you're Hart. So that's good. Smart from Lewis to realize you also need to wall the corners near the relics. A lot of players will wall relics and leave the corners open, and relics can still be picked up. This is a good situation for Lewis. His walls are great. His eco is great. He does need to make it to Castle Age. I wouldn't have hated a little bit of idle TC time just to click up on time here. Going Cav Archers in this position could be really good. Oh, Hart didn't actually see the walls until now. That's kind of funny. That's so annoying. Well, he's making his church here. He'll get his free relic. And then he might need to make siege to take those walls down to get the relics. He could actually make his way to Lewis's relics. Lewis needed to wall in his own relics. Lewis attempting to block here. Hart clicking through. Hart bringing Spearman around. And yeah, he's definitely going to try and church rush Lewis there. Look at the blocking there from Lewis. But now the Spearmen are there and he needs to back away. Noticing just like a couple weird details with Hart. Just the way he's controlling his units. It does seem to be a little bit, like, not quite as sharp as I'm used to seeing. And he said after he 3-0'd Yo that he didn't feel like he was playing sharp. Which, again, kind of made me jealous and angry. I was like, how do you 3-0 Yo not feeling sharp? But this isn't about me. And, all right. He says, I'm going to take your relics, fool. You walled in the wrong relics. That's crazy. That's so good. That is so good. He's like, fine, I don't need my relics. I'll just take your relics, and then it will be 4 against 0. That's a really good play. And the priest is already here. Oh. Okay, never mind. Church is on the way up, I think. Oh my god. Heart's tilted right now. Heart is super tilted. Oh, man. Was there an earthquake in Peru, or was that Heart stomping the floor? I feel like something's going on right now. That's so annoying. He couldn't actually build click that palisade. And now Lewis is going to build his own church. It's a church off. Oh, man, there's only so much land for the churches these days. Quick walls from Hart. Quick walls from Hart. He's got to build his church fast. Click, click, build. But now she could be attacked by the church. Click, build, repair, spearmen. Okay, now get the relics fast. Get the relics fast. All right, she's dead. So another villager dies. It's doable to get these relics with the priest real quick. Get him. Yoink. Get him. Yoink. Okay, got him. So we got 3 relics. Not easy for Lewis still to engage against all the spearmen and priests. I agree this is very cheesy. Another villager is being attacked. Hart has to go for more quick walls. Siege workshop might complete. Look at Hart's eco right now. Look at his gold count. They've been so focused on the fights. His gold count's insane. That could translate into a lot of things. That could be siege. That could be more monks. Obviously, it's really tough for him to use the defensive monastery and barracks now because Lewis can snipe the reinforcements. But having the relics is always going to be a good play here in these low eco scenarios, and Hart did get 4 of them. And the church fires arrows on monks, which is not going to make it easy for Lewis to defend. Hart is recovered nicely from a couple scenarios that could have really been tilting, and he lands a big shot there on Lewis. This is a really tough scenario even to cast right now. But I think the church is going to go down for Lewis, and then his monks will be exposed. Hart quick walling on point now. And then monk goes down for Lewis. He has to run. Whew. Why isn't he grabbing the relic? Well, because the like have, and he has to focus on the push. This relic isn't that valuable now. I mean, okay, it's obviously valuable, but you're ahead of your opponent. You don't want to fall behind. That's the gist of it. So he's focusing his attention on the micro because he considers himself already ahead. He doesn't want to fall behind. But maybe now he can do it. And now he's got a second. And church will go down. Lewis will run out of gold eventually. And Lewis can't really run into the choke point with the light cav. Lewis could maybe consider some weird shenanigans. Could maybe consider the bush again. Actually, he could attack the house and be through. Now, that would be next level. To bring villagers now and take that bush. But I gotta stop talking about it. Because you guys... No, not George W. Bush. I gotta stop talking about it. You guys are making it weird. I like to see Hart... I know there's a lot of like have, but I'd like to see redemption. You have enough warrior priests and pikes around. Ooh, Lewis is going for a defensive castle. Big shot from Lewis. He lands it. Hart with a sick attack round to respond, though. And now Hart will shift his attention this way because he knows the castle's going up. Lewis never broke through with the light cav. Hart's defending with a church and a monk. And Lewis could still be exposed. This castle doesn't actually protect him. Fully, anyways. Hart needs the pike upgrade, man. He's got a lot of spears, no pikemen. Get that pikeman upgrade, man. So as to be very careful not to overextend at any time. Did he get redemption? I think he did. But there's only one monk in there. Hart needs this win. Lewis has just noticed the house. No, he hasn't. Every time I think Lewis will go forward, he comes back. It's been Hart's thinking as well. And Lewis dives in. Lewis gets a snipe! But regenerate that, Georgians! Regenerate that! Oh my god, that was a huge shot! And the stable's about to go down as well, so no more light cap for you. Damn. That was sick from Hart. He needs this. Like, he has needed to remind himself, remind everybody how aggressive he can be and that it can actually work out. And I think this has been near perfect so far. And here he comes, guys. This is so risky, though. But it's sudden death. We like the risk. We love the risk. Castle's going up. Lewis can't let that go up. Hart's building it with 7 villagers. He's watched one too many doubt games. 7 vills, bro? 7? Loses 1 mangonel. Kills the mangonel. There's another mangonel on the way. There's this so much church on my screen. There is a mangonel from Lewis in the siege workshop. He'll hop out, but yeah, it'll get converted. I mean, potentially anyways. If the monks are there. Castle's still building. That's all that matters for Hart. The micro is top-notch. Oh, man, the castle's gonna go... Goes up. It goes up. And then it... He's making petards. And he's got those weird predicament where he needs to attack the TC, but it's super tough to get through there. But I don't see what Lewis does. Unless he counterattacks somehow. If only, if only there was a way to get through. I'm sorry. I'll stop. I'm just saying, man. He needs something crazy right now. Okay, he's bringing vills this way. So he's walking around. And maybe he's noticed. If he had the stone for a castle on at Hart's base would be sick. Hart is massing petards. Lewis is adding walls. Lewis is just taking gold there. Okay. Yeah, I think Hart has him exactly where he wants him. And he is enough for a castle. I wouldn't hate it at home because his situation's seemingly unbreakable right now on the front. Is Hart coming out here for gold? I think he's coming down here, but Lewis has found him. It's only with a pikeman, though. It's kind of a... That's 20 vills right there. Outpost from Lewis around the outside. Hart has shifted his lumber camp around so he doesn't overchop. And he is still attacking the TC, and the petards might hop out at any moment. But we just know the pathing is going to be god-awful when he goes for this, right? Like, some of them are going to eject on the left. Some of them are going to eject on the right. There's a wall there. Lewis has done a good job to keep himself in it. He's also now getting redemption himself. I love how Hart makes 6 million mule carts with mule cart civs. Very relatable. Petards, 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 petard sighting. Hart is through, and Hart wins the game. Damn, what a great game. What a great response from Hart. This is kind of what we've been waiting for. Honestly, I thought Lewis had a really good game as well. So I think that's one that's easy to shrug off. But there was just some masterclass plays from Hart. I think rushing forward and getting this church down and getting those relics and just applying that much pressure with siege and monks was really the key. And Lewis made him work with it, work for it. There was a lot of light cap maneuvering, but there was no way for him to counterattack and damage his opponent. And the Castle Age difference just paid off big time. So nice job from Hart. I think had he tried just Warrior Priest, it would have been a big problem. Mixing in the spears was good. And he lost a couple vills. Like, the siege push was delayed, but he still was just very much on top of it. And finally gets a win. So the people who may or may not be from the UK, who boldly predicted 4-0 win for Lewis here today at the start, they are unfortunately incorrect. But that's good for us because we want more games here. And I think Hart still has some more to show us. He collected 2,000 more gold. 1,500 of that was with the relics. So, yeah, crazy job there. And Lewis, as I said, will feel completely fine with that because he's got some really good maps for his skill set coming up. Here we are, game 4. We have Gurjaras. So I'm going to just list off some names of players I remember. I might be missing some who were never expected to go deep in this tournament, but played and got wins against great players with this Civ, okay? I think it was Javesty against Jordan. 1,200 elo difference, 1,400 elo difference, 1,000, something. Got a win with Gurjaras. Arbase against Lix. 1,000 elo difference. Got a win with Gurjaras. Dave against Lucho. Infinite elo, is that a thing? 10 million elo difference between those two. And Dave was able to use Gurjaras and win here. Actually, no, Dave was another Civ. Sorry, I just really wanted an opportunity to make a joke at Dave's expense. Okay, Dave was another Civ. The point is the map and also Gurjaras has been really good opportunities for upsets. I'm definitely forgetting some. And the reason for that is because if you destroy the aqueduct, there's an explosion that deletes a gap into the opponent's base. And then all the fish that they're fishing is gone. So you have this, like, infinite food, but if you destroy the walls, then there's no longer infinite food. What is this? I've never seen this before. I think that is a bug. It's not a bug that actually has... I don't think it's going to change anything, but Lewis says bugged. Lewis... Wait. Hart says what? It just looks weird, I guess. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't think it's bugged. So this is what Lewis sees. And Lewis says suits you. Freaking Lewis. Oh, that's funny. Hearts is looking like my opponent. Yeah, so the trash talking begins right now. So this should have no effect over how the game plays. They will continue to trash talk. But the strat that's insane is the siege elephants. And the reason it worked is because people didn't scout it. We are now in the semifinals. The cat's out of the bag. If you scout it, if you know what's coming, you could prepare something for it. But Britain's might not be the best. Britain's not really the best Night Civ. Not really the best, like, Light Cav Civ, which would maybe be a counter to it. Someone says there's a tree in there? You think there's a tree in there? How important is it to my viewers for us to find if there's a tree in there? Because we don't have a lot of time. We could... Hold up. We could turn off the small trees. I don't think so. Well, the way we'll find out is if this gets destroyed, but I'm not seeing a tree in there. These trees are pretty big. So that was a nice guess. But I think there's no trees, and we can probably put small trees back on and speed up. Yeah, it'd be wild if the boar was in there. Actually, where is Heart's... Is Heart's boar in there? He doesn't have a... Oh, okay, there's a second boar here. Oh, that would be funny. Because no one takes the boar until way later. All right, well... We've got the sheep inside of the mill. Hart's going to build the second mill here. Still no lumber camp. Nope, he's got a lumber camp. I'm doing great. I'm new, by the way. Nice to meet you guys. I'm really hoping to make it with this whole casting thing. So with your support, maybe I can get there someday. Yeah, I just think Lewis should just play defense here. There's no incentive for Lewis to play offense. Play fast castle crossbows, scout the opponent, adapt. Britons are really difficult to push, but also very slow to push with. And I think that's completely fine for Lewis. That's acceptable. Ooh, he's going to stone now. Ooh. So, when I went to stone on the outside, I got immediately scouted and I lost all my vills. It was horrible. Let's see what happens here. Heart Scout is down here. And, yeah, thank you for the speed reminder, chat. Heart's just going to scout around the map, and he's dropping a barracks. He will maybe plan around a stable. He is not scouting the stone. So the plan for Lewis is probably defensive castle near the TC to defend from a potential push. If the push comes, he has the castle there, which isn't necessarily enough, but still it can help. And then he can make longbows, which is probably the Britain's best unit. Also, Lewis gets a 0.1 efficiency bonus because he is a Brit playing as the Brits. So, nice stuff. I gotta see, I didn't see if Hart picked the Incas for local efficiency bonus. I don't believe Incas were available. Yeah, Incas were admin bans. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Very fortunate for Lewis. He's mining this stone. Like, I mean, I say fortunate. I think it's a good move. People will question it if someone goes feudal age, but I don't think going feudal age on this map is good. And so, fast castle is almost always the best play. And if fast castle is almost always the best play, they won't have an easy way to punish this. You can get enough stone to get near a castle, and then if you really get desperate, you can buy the rest. And for now, they're still taking so much food. Blacksmith and market for Lewis. Hart still scouting down here, which might indicate that Hart will push from down here. If that is indeed the plan. He's up fast, guys. He's up super, super, super fast. And if he comes forward and builds a siege workshop and starts to mass these Gurjara elephants, I'm telling you, they can move past the castle. These things are busted, man. What's the bonus? Mounted units dealing additional bonus damage applies to their siege elephants. So it's 30% bonus damage against buildings. I've made some videos on it before. It's mainly a team game strategy, because you have one player do the elephants, the other person do the military. Lewis hasn't clicked up yet. Does Lewis, is he like not concerned about the timings here? Why has he not sold off resources to click up? Okay, now he sees he's been spotted, so now he's leaving. And now he queues up Castle Age, and now here come the scouts, and here come the camels, and uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Will Hart run in? He has to. It's free damage. Oh, man. Lewis is fighting it back like a champ. Now the units are into his base. Oh, God. Don't lose your scout. Don't lose your scout, Lewis. Run, 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 run. Hart stays in. Oh, boy. Well, I mean, Lewis has loom. He doesn't have a barracks, though, for spearmen. This is really annoying. And Hart can see... He knows his opponent's waiting for a castle now. God, it would be so important for Hart to kill this scout. If he can get another scout on that, that would be so good. He doesn't actually have to go for the elephants if he doesn't want to. He's going to try it now. He is attacking Lewis there. Lewis is now getting hit here. Lewis is collapsing. He was so late with his Castle Age. And then he let the units into his base. And there's the siege workshop. Lewis wants a castle on his TC to defend. He knows what this means. Hart needs the food income. Hart killed the scout on the outside. Hart now forcing quick walls from Lewis. Will Hart prepare his economy for this? And pull off of the fish. And take boars. And take sheep. All that stuff. He's being patient so far. Only killed one villager and the scout. He's respecting Lewis's ability to fight back with villagers. He waits for the upgrades. He gets a 9 another villager snipe. And Lewis is dropping the castle because he can hear the elephant. Now, hold on. The elephant's actually taking down the wall, not the aqueduct. Which means Hart can still fish behind this. Which he might need. And he only has one elephant. I think Hart should just be happy with the damage he's done. You've killed Vils. You're forcing reactions. You can get relics. I know standard is still kind of unexciting for most viewers, but do you need to take the aqueduct now? Yeah, notice how he stopped. He said, no, I need the food. That's a smart play. I don't think you should take the aqueduct, especially if the opponent's going to make longbows, which is only wood and gold, and you need food for your Shirvamshas. Now, alternatively, like, not a bad spot for Lewis because he's not being pushed, but now there is a way for units to come into his base, and the Shirvamshas are going to run in, and this gets really annoying. Yeah, if the aqueduct is taken down by anything, it explodes, and the fish is gone on both sides for players. Hart's waiting first. He's adding farms first. He's taking other sources of food before he does that. But Lewis has a castle. Lewis has longbows. Lewis has ballistics on the way. And I have consistently said I do not think Shirvamshas are a good unit. And maybe I'll be proven wrong. They're a great raiding unit, but against ranged units in Castle Age, I don't actually consider them to be that strong. At least at the high level. Nice job, though. Amazing for the raids. Hart still able to dodge because ballistics isn't in. Elephant is now destroying the wall. Mangonel is the choice for Hart to maybe pressure the fish. And Shirvamshas will go in and kill another villager. Man. And Hart wants the monk. He won't get the monk. And now his army's dead. At a certain point, Hart is going to have to kill longbows. Can he do that? It's important that Hart has the eco lead, because longbows are incredibly dangerous now. That Shirvamsha goes down. Okay, Hart's attacking the aqueduct again. Now, I think he might commit to it this time, because there's farms, there's berries. He could build a mill on these berries. It's weird he's not attacking the same spot as before, so I don't know if it's going to happen or not. It actually would allow his Shirvamshas to run around, though. Lewis needs to wall here. It's down. Say goodbye, fishies. Yeah, now Hart can run in. And does Lewis have any other food eco? No. He will go to berries, and he is banking up food because he's not spending food. I don't know, guys. Like, I know Res Collected looks good for Hart, but if Shirvamshas are a fake unit, if they actually suck, and that's what Hart's spending all of his resources on, Lewis can get imp faster, in theory, and push with longbows and trebs. Hart's going to go for a lot of eco. And now Lewis has just rewalled this, so there's no way into his base. When you're going for a cav unit, it's normally really bad on 1 TC. Knights and Shirvamshas, units like that are great when you can have multi-TCs. Ranged units, monks. Ranged units and monks are amazing when you have low eco. Hart doesn't have that much food. There's no way Imperial Age is doable. He's also taking boars. He does only have 1 relic as well. Would love to see him snag a few more, but that takes the focus away from the push. I think there's even an argument for Lewis to idle at a certain point. Like, idle to go imp after these 3 vills. Just stop producing vills. Your longbows get free range in imp. It could be really strong, right? I think there was a hole there. Chat's talking about it anyways. Lewis has plugged the gap. Lewis sneaking around to get more relics. He's going to get away with it. Hart didn't see the monk. Hart sees the longbows, and they're sniping the Mangonel now. Hart wants those scorpions to engage. He wants the Mangonel to engage. But the longbows outrange the scorpions, and the monk can heal up. Lewis is not really microing as I would have expected there. But I just have really high belief in Lewis's micro. I feel like he'll always back away. He'll always heal up. He'll always play it safe. And he's going to click up. Hart needs to do some damage. Some big damage. Because he's forever Castle Age now. And I guess there was a Scorpion raid that did very little up here. And now that goes down. Lewis is on the way to Imperial Age. Let's think gold long term. Lewis still has this, but is almost out of this. So that's something to think about. Hart really needs to outpost more, but he does have some outposts. Hart also has his relics here, so if Lewis takes that, that's good. Hart is getting devotion. That is the amount of fear that one single monk has put into him. And Lewis is just going to wall more. And Hart only has one elephant. He's committed to the Shravamshas, but the units from Lewis has never moved out. It's almost like Hart... He wants to engage against these units, but he can't now. The timings have not been there. I don't know why Hart has brought this villager. Maybe he saw a bush, but the villager's dead. Okay. If Lewis overextends, this is horrible. If he moves out of his base, this is horrible. All he has to do is sit at home and wait for imp upgrades. Lewis! Oh, God, no! He just needed to sit at home. Oh, no, bro! This is what Hart's been waiting for, was an engagement. Oh, man, Lewis got too excited. It's super easy to make that mistake. This is a war game after all, right? You want to attack. You want to do damage. It's still salvageable, but that's finally some damage for Hart and some harassment now. This gives him a lot of time. Maybe he can push in, and he can also get this relic. Lewis will be annoyed with himself, but he can still stabilize this. Bracer's on the way. He's repairing here. And Hart's units could probably never get in super close to these longbows. But they are slow, like significantly slower than the longbows. Sorry, than the Shravamshas. And once its dodge is gone, like the little shields, the unit just melts. But that's so big. Like, Hart has had so much time to manage eco behind this and go for whatever his plan is. And by the way, his plan is more Shravamshas. I don't think he knows what else he can do. I don't know what else he can do. And going imp feels like suicide because you're going to lose this army pretty soon. I guess if Hart can actually run in now, that changes things. Shravamshas again, getting some kills. Hart microing. Hart getting so many villager kills. Wow, he's got a 20 villager lead now. And he can run in. Oh, no way. So Hart can just keep streaming units into Lewis's eco, which is so annoying for Lewis. He seems to be waiting right now. Like he wants to surprise Lewis or something. Oh my God, he couldn't actually get in yet. There's a tree there. So he took the wrong piece of wall. I mean, if he can't end up making it in now, that would be massive. But he can, I guess, leave. And he could run in now. Meanwhile, Lewis is massing Trebs. And the name of the game is sudden death. So if he can mass up enough Trebs and eventually move out, he can take down Hart's TC and win the game. Hart has spent so much food and so much gold on these Shravamshas. And there's a lot of longbows and Trebs here. Whew. To the person who said town centers are practically free with the Britons, I would like to remind you, you cannot build multiple TCs. This is a 1 TC game. So that is not a Briton bonus that Lewis can take advantage of. Hart will maybe have to move these relics back. Losing out on those would be a problem. Lewis will get... Like, Hart is going to surround Lewis and move out if Lewis extends too far. I think Lewis is aware of that. You know what Lewis needs? He needs to buy stone, and he needs to slowly creep forward with different wall segments. I know that sounds like wall builders and not AoE2, but that's what he needs. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. The monks are dead. The monks are dead. The Shravamshas are here. Maybe Shravamsha's actually insane against archers, guys. They're not elite longbows. The pathing's going to be brutal here. But Hart knows he has the better economy. He doesn't care about the castle fire, and he dives. Even just taking the Trebs would be such crazy value here, because eventually Lewis will run out of gold. The Trebs have repositioned. Well, that's not bad for Lewis. That's not bad for Lewis. He saves his Trebs. He doesn't lose that many longbows. Hart committed, like, everything for it. Now, that is worth it for Hart in the sense that he's always ahead by 30 vils. So he can afford to lose more, but that's still costly. He does still have Shravamshas running around here. Lewis will run out of this gold and have to be taking gold on the outside, and that's where I think he'll crumble. There's no way for Lewis to sneak here on Hart. And Hart's going to try the same thing again. What's Hart's gold situation like? He still has this gold and this stone, so he's okay. Lewis knows this is looking bad. There is a hole into Hart's base, which is maybe tempting to run in there and take the TC. I don't know, guys, if Lewis can do this. It has to be desperation play for the TC. Hart's patience has been awesome. The Shravamshas have been good enough. He doesn't need Imp as well. Imp would be too risky. He needs army. Oh god, the Shravamshas are still here. These units killed 7 eco. Nice job from Hart. And here he comes again. Round 5, it feels like. Obviously, the monks will die. Lewis is even taking the gold there, so the villagers will die. I think Hart should just not allow the Trebs to escape. He wants those longbows. He's trying to path around them. It's a slaughter here. This is good enough for Hart. He sniped some expensive gold units. Lewis down to 24 vils. There's still vils dying over here. Hart's about to tie it up. Damn. I really enjoy... I mean, he hasn't won the game yet, but Hart's patience with the early decisions in Castle Age was awesome. Because the plan was to take the Aqueduct, and he realized, let's not. Let's hold on to it for a little longer and balance our eco first. It's Lewis's last stand with the longbows. Shravamshas surround them, and Shravamshas, good enough. If you make 77 of them, Hart just a pure eco win, and great job with the mobility as well. Hart killed 37 villagers this game, and for the most part, Lewis was not outside of his walls that frequently. Well played. So, for as impressive as the first 2 wins from Lewis, where he was able to slow it down, and he was able to have these boomy-style games, the last 2 games, there's been a lot more activity, and Hart's been able to use his speed and use his skill there. Well played. Shravamsha and Gurjara's taking down the Britons against a Brit, and scores 2-2, and finally the semifinal starts to deliver. I just think Lewis's Castle Age was too late, which is maybe the weakness of trying to play longbows. Maybe playing crossbow and maybe playing pikeman is a better play. I just look back, and everything that happened early Castle Age was the issue, right? Lycav got brought into his base. There was a 2-minute difference in the Castle Age time, right? That was definitely part of it for Lewis. Losing a couple vills because the Lycav came into the base was tough. And yeah, I think maybe taking stone on the outside is just a little too risky on this map. Even though he didn't get found right away, it still ended up being an issue. T90, are you going to take back your opinion on Shravamshas? No, they're a fake unit. Look at the eco there and tell me it was the unit and not the eco. It was a fake unit. Fake unit. I don't like it. It's a stupid unit. All right, sorry. We have a lot of time to talk about different things probably because I think this is going to be the boomiest, campiest, boomiest triple tunnel game we've ever seen. At least based on what happened last time Lewis played this map. He loves to sit back, add those fist traps. Players are very far away from each other. So usually that tends to be the focus to get their eco. Persians have the faster working docks, and they start with extra resources. They're really good for that. The problem is there's Italians on the other side. And if you wait too long, the Italian military is probably a step up from Persians. Persians would want to be Savar and like Hussar and just a lot of horse units. And the Italians with the Genoese crossbowmen completely shred all of that. But obviously that takes time, that takes resources, and getting multiple castles is like a really long way away. So I think Hart had kind of had the correct choice in terms of late game potential. Italians also have some water bonuses as well. Now, when Sebastian played Lewis, he went for Italians, but he went really aggressive. And I just think it was way too aggressive to ever work on this map. I think it has to be defensive. But they both have brought their scouts down here. And are both maybe thinking about this boar. There's a boar in the north and there's a boar in the south. I think Lewis was hoping that Hart didn't see him and that Hart was going to take that. But Hart is just walking through here. T90 official, have you ever ridden a camel? When I say ask questions in Dark Age, this isn't really what I mean. No, I have not. They're not really that common around these parts. I guess if maybe I had an opportunity to, I would maybe give it a shot. I don't know, man. I have not. Has anyone else in chat? I've ridden a horse before. I've done that, but I've not embraced my inner Saracen and ridden a camel. T90, what was your uncle's preferred civilization? I think he just plays random civ, which is kind of part of his problem because he's like super noob and he doesn't. I might advise him to pick a civ and like kind of learn a little bit more. T90, I haven't heard your opinion on Shravamsha. Okay, I'm skipping that one. Camels don't look like they'd be very comfortable to sit on. But I guess horses are pretty much all muscle, so it's not like horses are squishy and cushiony, so. I used to really enjoy horseback riding growing up. And one of my favorite vacations, we were in Yellowstone National Park, and we went on a horseback tour of some kind. Not really a tour. I mean, we were on a path and whatnot for the whole day. Expedition is more like it. It felt like an expedition for me because I was like 4 or 5 years old, but really good memories. Oh man, guys, I've had people call me a sellout. I've had people call me fake. I've had people call me noob. I've had people call me overrated. I've had so many things said about me. But this one might stick with me longer and hit deeper than anything else I've ever heard. Someone says T90 has horse girl energy. Mods, that has gone one step too far. Horse girl energy? Oh, I'm not even going to explain what that means. If you know, you know. How dare you? Dave's here says true LMAO. Get out. Don't. Come on. I've been trying to hide my true self, guys, all these years. So yeah, it's probably boomy. It's probably defensive. But like, there is a risk that feudal age openings can work. And so the safe play is head to feudal age. If they hit feudal age quickly, you can then adapt and do some spear defense or archers or whatever you need. And then if they don't attack you, then you just add another dock and add fish. So it's not defensive in the sense that we will guaranteed see a fast castle, but it's just kind of that middle ground where players will end up playing safe. Hart has also been really active with the scout. So this activity with the scout kind of tells you he's thinking about something if you're Lewis. Lewis almost patrolling there just in case something comes through. But doesn't really seem like Hart is going to do much. I just think they're both doing the same thing. Full walls. Planning on a fish boom. Planning on defense from the opponent. And this was what Sebastian didn't do. Sebastian like barely focused on his eco. He went for the attack, and then Lewis was just ready to defend. And Lewis should have never lost that game. I'd never seen someone that far ahead in res collected lose a game that early. That was... poof. think he had 3,000 more resources collected early castle age. If he had 2 more military units, he denies the castle and it's game over. But yeah, he is ahead. Persians, faster working TCs. Also, Persians have more HP on their TCs, so it is much harder to take that down later. So it's a guaranteed lead economically for Persians. And a defense lead as well. Chat, I don't know if I still have the photo. But let me ask you guys. What did you guys, when you were like a toddler, you know, and people would ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What did you say? I feel like very rarely do people end up being what they said. I had multiple throughout my life. Okay, astronaut. Chuck Norris? Let's go. I mean, that's a given. Who didn't want to be Chuck Norris? Dinosaur? Milkman? You wanted to be a milkman? That's kind of funny. Soccer player, musician, paleontologist. Rich. Well, yeah, but rich at 5 years old just means you have $20. So I'm pretty sure you accomplished that at some point. All right, interesting. So I wanted to be, as embarrassing as this sounds, I wanted to be a cowboy. That's the T in T90 stands for Toby Keith. I just want to be a cowboy. Not sure if you all get that reference, but yeah, so I wanted to be a cowboy. That was my thing. Which maybe doesn't help the whole horse girl energy accusation. But that was my thing. And then later on in life, I wanted to be an architect. Actually, no, what it was my parents told me I would make a good architect. And you want to know why they said this? Because I liked to build things with blocks. Like any normal kid. So they were just like, yeah, you're going to be an architect. You should be an architect. And then I found out later you have to be really good at math. And I was like, well, that dream is dead. Not a lot happening because playing it safe is the way. You should play this map. We're at that point now. And players don't want to take the risks 2-2. And it is a fish boom fest. But yeah, sucked at math. Obviously, like, I wanted to be a sports player. Like, who doesn't want to be a professional sports player in their favorite sport? But that's not, like, you know, a guarantee, of course, for many people, so. T90, I can verify you don't need to be any good at math. There's no math. Well, I'm not going to just go be an architect now. But if things fall flat, then maybe I'll keep that in mind. We got a couple scouts from Lewis. No additional scouts from Hart. I don't think Hart necessarily knows there's a stable from Lewis. He seems to notice it. He just wants some walls through the middle to control the map right now. It's a little risky. There's not anything else happening. They're going to have the food eco. So if I'm Lewis, I just engage here. Yeah, that's a smart play. And now Hart's like, why did I do that? And walls are going to be up. Can you imagine, though, right? I go to apply for a job. For whatever. And they look at my resume. And they're like, okay, what have you done for the last 12 years? And I'm like, well, have you ever heard of the game called Age of Empires? And they're like, oh, that's the mobile game, right? It's like Clash of Clans. And I'm like, no, you might not have heard of it. It came out. Oh, Capture Age is dead. Capture Age crashed. So sorry you missed the fish boom. And we've got a couple scouts here. We're caught up to lifetime. We're good to go. We missed a couple stats, unfortunately. Where were we? Oh, yeah. So I'm like, have you ever heard about Age of Empires? It's like, well, I've talked about that. They're like, oh, yeah, that game. That like super dead game. That game that like people got out of cereal boxes when they were 12. I'm like, yeah, that one. They're like, okay. Well, were you like a dev on it? Did you like work on the game? No. Did you like do coding? No. Did you like work for the Microsoft team? No. Actually, I just like talked about it for the last decade. So anyways, I feel like I'm really good for this job. Like, yeah, you know, I think I could be an architect now. And I'm like 42 years old. Like, that's terrifying to think about. You laugh at, but it's actually terrifying to think about. Actually, I need you guys to be really successful, and then you can sympathy hire me. Aha! That's the play! That's the play! I'm in, baby. I'm in. Who here, if you were in a position of power, would hire me, even if I was slightly less efficient at the job? Anybody? All right, I'm seeing a couple yeses. So, there we go. Nice. Good to know. I'll give you some calls. Fishing ship count is 22 versus 22. Everyone is losing their minds over how insanely aggressive this is. But obviously, while that's sarcasm, this is kind of what Italians like, right? Like, Italians have the superior eco. The superior military in the long run, I would argue here. Now, that's only if you get Genoese crossbowmen, I suppose. And Hart isn't actually on stone yet, so maybe not. He's going to stonewall down here. But Lewis is investing a little bit more into map control with some spears and with some light cav. And even some outposts now. And it does have some monks on the field trying to get relics. T90 connections are always more important than skills, and you know a lot of people. All right. Well, I think I'm good for a few more years. Hopefully, we'll see. But thanks for the faith, I suppose, chat. What type of retirement plan do you have? There is no retirement plan. There's no plan. It's have a lot of fun and talk about Age of Empires and see how life goes, and then we adapt from there. Villager forward. This is very ambitious. Very ambitious. This villager had a retirement plan, and now she's dead. But at least she died doing what she loves. Building forward stone walls and outposts. That was... I guess Lewis didn't expect Hart to have that much. And so... yeah, he gets a little surprised there because Hart was sitting behind his walls for a while. Lewis will be a little bit surprised by Hart's imp time. This is a 90-second difference. Lewis's economy is still ahead, which is to be expected considering the situation. Fishing ship counts very similar. I assume they're all in fish traps. It's only 2 docks for Hart, so I guess he can't efficiently go for the full surround there. But Hart doesn't have stone. So I don't think Hart's going to kill that quickly here. If he doesn't have stone, he's not going to get to a castle and get to Genoese. He's playing towards Arbalest. So I don't mind the position for Lewis. The only thing that's weird is he made so many camels in response to 2 knights. So I think he overmade camels a little bit. But down here, players are fighting for relics and positioned with walls. So far, Hart was able to get 1 wall down. But Lewis is getting relic number 3. I think Lewis might even have more than that on the way back. And Hart will advance forward, and he will see the castle. And now is when you want Genoese. You want a castle, you want Genoese crossbowmen with bombard cannons pushing the castle. But if you don't have Genoese crossbowmen, Arbalest bombard cannon can be killed by Savar. Nice conversions there from Lewis. I think Lewis could do this. The main thing that's weird for him right now is gold. He's running out here, and he's mining this gold, which Hart should be able to deny. But Hart isn't quite denying yet. It's actually critical that Hart does do so. Just doesn't see it's being mined at all. Hart's full wall on the second wall didn't happen up here. And he sees the trebuchet from Lewis, and he sees the vills. But that was still precious time from Lewis to take the gold. Lewis still... Hart still doesn't have many bombard cannons. And he still doesn't have the Arbalest upgrade. And he isn't walled here. So if Lewis were to raid him, there's a real possibility. And Lewis is sending a bunch of knights that way to go raid. That's good. Distract with the raids, and Hart will be trying to full focus the middle, and you hopefully you have enough time to get to Savar, but maybe Savar's even too expensive. Yeah, Cavalier. We'll find those 2 units and just... This is not the type of game Hart wants. He needs to maybe back up right now. Fight to get the walls down, and then you can push the middle. But then if you do that, Savar upgrade can come in, and then you're dead to that. Oh, man, that was so close. Nice shot from Lewis. He's doing everything he can to hold. Hart moved the bombard cannon away from the Treb. And Hart has to quick wall again, and the Cavalier are coming through, and Lewis's raids starting to really frustrate Hart here. Hart he still doesn't have the Arbalest upgrade. And he doesn't have stone walls here either, so the Cavalier could break through the walls. Hart might need to... Oh, he's going pikeman? Ugh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it so much. But it might be the play with his current situation because he doesn't have any castles. And even if he gets the 1 castle, like, is that enough Genoese crossbowmen to be enough? At least with pikemen, even though you don't get Halb, you have more units out. But it's usually pretty sad to be having to make pikemen with a civ that doesn't make Halb. Or doesn't get Halb. By the way, I would have loved Bohemians here from Hart. I don't know what his plan is, but I was thinking he goes Bohemians here. Plays Halb, Hufnitsa. Persians get wrecked. Finally gets the Arbalest upgrade. Lewis, mining a lot of gold. Lewis in the north, mining a lot of gold. Lewis back at home, 6 relics. I think Lewis is going to win this game. Savar just wins the game, right? It's such a big upgrade. And then the opponent doesn't have Genoese and doesn't have Halbs. It dies if the opponent can have Genoese that are elite and Halbs. And none of those things are viable right now for Hart. 6 relics. That's so good from Lewis. Really well played. In the end, the faster Imperial Age for Hart didn't really do much because you have to push so far on this map. And Lewis just out-fish trapped Hart here. Out-fish trapped and, of course, has a few more vills as well because he's Persians. Still no castle for Hart as he opts for walls here. I think he's at least realizing he needs to push and that he's waited too long. But the clock is ticking here before Savar comes in. It's the right moves from Hart now because he's falling further and further behind. Start to drop the castle. Start to think about a push forward. Lewis needs all of his army here now. Could also add his own bombard cannons, but yeah, full focus on the middle. Savar will be in 45 seconds. Would be really sick if Hart had a wall to create some choke points for his Arbalest and his pikemen. He will have 30 pikes. They're still doing bonus damage. It's not as much as Halb, but still, I mean... It's not a horrible position to be in. Hart's starting to max out a little bit. And getting a lot of upgrades that he didn't have, too. Lewis is probably going to engage now. Once Savar is in, he won't wait for Blast Furnace, and the bomber cannons for Hart get rocked, and Hart's in trouble. The Savar will engage. The pikes are on the front, but we've got 165 HP. We've got 8 Pierce armor. And, oh man, they just shred everything. Not even close. You need Halb, or you need Genoese crossbowmen. If you don't have that, Savar win the game. And Lewis outbooms Hart, and Lewis gets a win. Hart needs to win 2 straight now. Very well played from Lewis. Again, this is the map that I was thinking Hart would ban, actually. I was really impressed with how Lewis played it the other day. He's happy to just sit back and boom. He's happy for these really chill late games. And with Persians, having access to all of this gold, getting those relics, like he played it really, really well. I wanted Hart to play with a little bit more map control, a little bit more like Cav, actually compete for the relics, and then you can have a bigger eco and maybe play towards Genoese crossbowmen. The Arbalest timing on this map, it's just not it. It takes so long to move across. Obviously, Lewis played it well to kind of hold and get the castle position in the middle, but yeah, Hart tried to play that like other games he's played. I think some of the stats are missing here. Because of the drop, unfortunately, guys. But yeah, Lewis up 3-2. We have Lewis playing as the Japanese here against Hearts Bohemians. So this does answer some questions, right? We thought maybe Bohemians would be played in game number 7, but he's opted to go for Bohemians here in game number 6. I think Lewis is still in a really good spot if he loses this. He has one of the most terrifying civs in the game available for the final match in the Spanish. So I'm giving Lewis 70-30 odds to win the finals from here. Not to win the finals, but to win this series from here. And for now, the players are just bringing in their boars on the backside. You've got the fish around the outside, which sometimes players will dock or mill. In the previous series, we saw a big push for players to go to the middle. But I would be surprised if either player builds a lot in the middle. Having said that, though, Japanese should be really good at that. You actually pick Japanese for the cheap mills, cheap lumber camps, and try to fish here, so... I see Magic Blue probably can't hear me. Magic Blue has made 3 comments complaining about the ads. Magic Blue, even though you can't hear me, if I do not run ads in between games, which I tried to do, they will happen by Twitch during the game anyways. So I'm doing my best, dude. I really want to watch the game as well. I get it. I'm sorry, it's not fun, but I'm kind of doing everything I can here. I do like the commentary, though. He doesn't know we're talking about him. He now says, I'm still watching ads, LMAO, WTF. Well, that's all right. We're just in Dark Age. Actually, you know what I could do? I can get a sponsorship real quick, and then right when he's done watching the ads on Twitch, I can say, this game is sponsored by... Go into my whole thing. I'll try and time it. Be quiet, chat. Be quiet. I'll come up with something. Heart... Boar is trolling him right now. Where's this boar going? Was this boar not over here? You see this? Where is this boar going? Is it going to the left or is it going to the right? I mean, he can snag it. But usually when I'm playing, I keep in my memory where the boar was. I guess this is where it was. He drops a dock on the back. So does Lewis. I think Lewis is going to go man-at-arms. And maybe some towers here. And I think Hart... I mean, if he was a different player, I would say it's definitely fast castle onto stone, into a castle. But it's just not a very Hart thing to do. Oh, dude, Fenris gifted a sub to Magic Blue. There you go, guys. Magic Blue, you won't have ads all month now. That was nice, Fenris. Thank you for doing that. Boar is walking to the left again. It seems like every time the gate opens, it gets confused. All right. Well, now people... I'm not running ads, and now people are complaining about ads. Sneaky. Sneaky, chat. I know what you're trying to do. There's a new meta forming. A Heart will take his boar. Heart pushing in some deer. Just a lot of food income right now. And Heart's not taking his boar, actually. Do you guys remember that boar situation in Classic Pro Nikov Game 5? That was some wild stuff. I actually still think that needs to be its own video. I can't believe that happened. I mean, Classic Pro could have lost the game with that board. That was ridiculous. This thing was walking all over the map. It would like be the equivalent of... I don't know, Heart's boar starting here and walking like around and ending up in the middle. That was crazy. Lewis is forcing down the barracks. He's on the way to feudal. This will be man-at-arms for him. Heart's still adding villagers. He could be in feudal age or on the way to feudal age if he wanted to be right now, but... I mean, you're up against the Japanese. It has to be an expectation they will go man-at-arms and then maybe mix in a couple fire ships on the outside. I don't think Hart should be surprised by this. I think the plan is to just be as greedy as possible and get to Castle Age, where Bohemians are at their strongest. Early chemistry, maybe a castle drop, monks. Lewis might bring some villagers forward as well, but kind of interesting. He didn't build a mining camp. So it feels like he got just enough gold for the man-at-arm upgrade and is not planning on an archer follow-up. I don't love this. I mean, we know exactly what Hart is up against. But I'm not a big fan against the Japanese of taking the gold in the front when the gold's on the outside here. But I guess... I don't know. I mean, he clearly thinks he's safe back here because he's coming out with these vills. But I guess you just don't know until you know. And now the tower's on the way up. And Hart will add a couple more walls for safety. And then he can always fall back to this gold. So a bit of a waste with the mining camp maybe. But he can always use that later on. The scout for Hart's still around the outside. Lewis is not on gold. So no fire galley potential. No archer potential. I'm not sure if I love that. Like, I feel like you need... I mean, he's getting through very quickly here, but I feel like it'd be nice if you had an archer or two to pressure Hart. Nothing to really disrupt Hart beyond losing a few houses here. But the counter to everything I'm saying is, if you invest into the range, if you invest into the archers, if you have vills on gold, that's just a very big commitment. And that big commitment might not actually do that much more. So Lewis now headed to stone for a few more towers. And did he ever scout the back here? Now, never scouted the back. He sees the market. He sees the blacksmith. And yeah, Hart's chilling, man. Hart's chilling. Lost a couple houses, but doesn't seem like this is a problem at all. So I played and I watched a lot of games on this map. And against certain types of players, I actually think it's good to go man-at-arms on the outside. You go man-at-arms on the outside, just to force them in, basically. And then you go archers into the middle. I think it's super risky, because the middle seems like the most important area. But because the middle is so important, players know you're going to rush there, and they fall back. Hart's on the way to Castle Age now. Still not on stone. Did build a tower in case he's attacked, and there's actually no follow-up whatsoever. But at least that is kind of freed up in his mind. And from here, I would expect Hart to go monks. I would expect Hart to go siege. Push the tower down, push the middle. And try to destroy Lewis, take down the TC. And take us to a game 7 here. Bohemians get the gold mining upgrades, so the gold mining's very efficient despite the tree being in the way and kind of blocking and bumping. He still has the fish on the outside. It's not super efficient, but it's something, and it's been really quiet now, so it'd be kind of surprising for Hart to take any risks with villagers out here. You should know the man-at-arms are coming over. And okay, he's just adding a second dock there. And that's just to block any potential fire galleys. Really late from Lewis. Lewis could have had archer follow-up. Lewis could have had a second tower. Lewis could have had the fire galley. Like, he just pretty much went feudal for man-at-arms, one tower, and then stopped. But his Castle Age time will benefit because of it. And Hart loses his scout, and so does Lewis. First 2 kills of the game. And now Lewis will go in underneath Hart's golds. And Hart kind of garrisons and scares him away there as he drops double monastery. Alright, so if Lewis can click up the castle and manage his economy, you can almost always expect monks from here. Would love for him to attack the gate and see if there's vills on stone. That way you know if it's going to be a castle drop or not. And if it's going to be monks, he has 18 on food for the time being. Granted, a lot of that's in the middle. But still 18 on food, and he can go light cap from here. But knowledge is power, right? And right now, he doesn't really have that knowledge. He actually sees fire galleys looping around, though. And Lewis only has 1 dock, so he can't actually protect his fishing ships with a second dock too easily. Over here, Lewis loses his spear. Over here, Lewis is losing his fire. Men-at-arms are pretty much useless. And Hart is also starting to add some monks. Hart's been very passive here, but it's pretty smart. If he can get the relics, too. Imagine getting this relic, and then getting this relic, and then also killing Lewis on water. Lewis kind of has nothing. Lewis is making more... he made one more Man-at-Arm. These guys are 39 HP. They're like men at half an arm right now. And yeah, he's losing his fish. This has not worked well for Lewis. But maybe he can still hold the middle. Hart hasn't moved out with Siege yet. Hart's been very economic with his focus here. Obviously, it's worked out, though. A second tower from Lewis. Repairing this tower now. Hart needs to back away. And now he knows about the monks, which he didn't know about. Hart. Oh, dude, that hurts. Every monk is so valuable. We get so used to players never losing their monks. And now he's only got one monk in the middle, and Lewis knows about the potential of monks and could bring scouts. Why is Hart not adding a siege workshop? I expected siege right away. Okay, he's building his own tower. Well, this is something. Okay. So he has his monks healing the villagers building the tower. I mean, I guess it's okay until Lewis does this. Lewis is dropping a castle on him. Man, Hart just needed siege. Hart just needed siege. Now his villagers are in trouble. His monk goes down to the tower. That castle will go up. There's golden stone all around that Hart still can't take. This puts Hart in a really tough predicament. But it makes it interesting because if he knows this is bad, he might go to the outside. Lewis is completely unprotected out here. And there he goes. There he goes. This is the right play from Hart. Obviously, whatever has or has not happened in the middle has not worked out. Is Lewis going to sense that it's too quiet now and that he needs to check the outside? He actually sees this Vil. Is she going to give it away? She's going to try and meet up with her friends. Lewis can see that. Lewis is not going after her, though. Oh, he is. He's not now. I don't understand. Why are we not? Well, Lewis might see the houses and get super paranoid. Bro, Lewis, there's a Vil right here, man. There's a Vil right here. Well, that castle's going up, folks. I don't know if he would have been able to deny it anyways, because he only had 2 scouts. But he's going the other way. Has been a long series. Of course, very easy to say when we're casting. Lewis wants fast imp. Hart wants to kill now. Lewis wants this castle to make trebs in a couple minutes' time. This gets very dangerous for Lewis. Because, like, your win condition is in maybe 5 minutes from now, and you have no defense for Hussite wagons, and another castle drop can still be placed and still take down your TC. Hart is so annoyed right now. He probably wants through this house. Hart has enough stone for another castle. Lewis is walling. Lewis is walling. He's never expecting another castle from Hart. And Hart's going to castle here. But Hart, if you get through, you can just castle. Oh, man. Decisions. I thought he was just going to castle here and shoot the TC. But he can't get through fast enough, and he wants a defensive castle. That, in many ways, is good for Lewis, because Lewis can play in towards the Trebor then. He still can pressure with units out here. This is just painful to watch, that the walling from Lewis there with the houses was so good. And Lewis is on the way to imp. I mean, Lewis can still die. But if Hart didn't drop a defensive castle there, he would have a castle on Lewis's TC soon. It's wild, though. If that house isn't there and it's just a palisade, I wonder if Hart ever makes this decision. I think because he couldn't get through fast enough, he felt like he had the stone for a castle and he just needed to do something with it. I guess you could buy another one. He is making petards here. He will be through the house in a second. He still has a couple minutes. It's crazy, but one Hussite wagon from Hart sitting in the middle, and Lewis has nothing. Lewis would lose so many bills. Lewis is shifting all of his eco around right now to get enough wood and gold for one treb from that castle. Will Hart buy another castle? He'll drop an outpost now. Lewis has enough walls here where Hart needs a lot more than 5 petards now. You need 2 petards per wall and then 5 for the TC. Hart's going to just buy another castle. Yeah, that's smart. This is what we wanted anyways, right? So in the end, the defensive castle's fine. That's huge. Yeah, that's huge. And save the petards till the castle's up. And you full garrison the castle on the front and you just target the TC. Lewis is going for a crazy wall, though. And Lewis can target the TC with the Treb, too. He doesn't go for the castle. He can go for the TC. Oh, this is going to be intense. This is some sudden disaster right there. Or right here. Who wins, guys? Lewis will probably only ever get to 2 Trebs. Who wins? Hart or Lewis? Castle's up for Hart. He'll start to shoot through the walls very quickly. Lewis has his 2 Trebs in queue. Hart needs to pull his Vills right now to repair. Hart also needs to go kill Lewis. The pathing here is just going to be brutal, right? You just know it. Hart's trying to break through the walls. Hart needs to bring his Vills now. All of his wood Vills. All of his gold Vills. Everybody. There's going to be one more tile of wall blocking a route to the town center there. If you can click the right pieces if you're Hart. He has a lot of petards. The Treb is out. Lewis, click it. Lewis, click it. It's clicked. Lewis is adding more walls. Hart is bringing in petards. Lewis got a wall piece there. He got a wall piece there. And the TC also almost kills a petard. There goes Hart. There goes Hart. There goes Hart. There goes Hart. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes. Hart. He doesn't see there's another piece of wall. He's trying to stay alive. Hart, go, 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 go. Lewis with another wall. Lewis to the finals. Lewis TC. Hart's TC. They're both dying. Trebuchets are constantly hitting. Hart is repairing like crazy. He's got another petard. He can't do it. He will run out of wood. He is still massing more petards. Lewis will also run out of wood as well. But he has 1,000 HP. Hart is sacrificing everything he can underneath this TC, hoping they tank the shots. Hart might need to sell his stone here and buy wood. He's out of wood. Oh my god. Can Lewis do this? That wall piece is about to go down. That wall piece is about to go down. Hart repair. Hart repair. He's got to go now. He loses. Damn, Lewis to the finals. Damn, what a great decision there in the end to go fast imp. Honestly, that was crazy. I felt like the opening was actually pretty uninspiring. And I really think Hart's going to have some regrets over some things he could have potentially done in the mid game. Like, if Hart goes double monastery and a siege workshop, the tower gets pushed back. This castle never goes up. But it doesn't matter. Lewis punished it great. And also, I love the commitment to the walls, man. Hart made a ton of petards this game. And that was a triple layer wall. And then the stubbornness as well to drop more walls and to block these choke points was really well played. This is what the game mode's all about. So this town center took 2,000 damage. Hart's town center, which I guess isn't around anymore, but it took 7,000 damage. Trebuchet's much faster. So it'll be Lewis in the finals. And Hart, unfortunately, is knocked out in the semifinals. And make no mistake, man, Hart was the favorite in terms of what he's done in his career, but Lewis is just built for these settings, it seems. That was awesome. Now, I'm going to say, with Hart being knocked out, now salutes to him. just like I said earlier in the first semifinal to the loser. Salutes to him. Really happy he signed up. Was really fun watching him play. Hartwood, he wants to win anytime he plays, but there were some people who, you know, are more meta players maybe who didn't sign up for this. It was really cool to see him play. I feel as though he will feel the first 2 games, like one of those games he needed to win, and then maybe this ends up being a little bit closer here. But Lewis, when it comes time for those clutch moments to go for max defense or max offense, he has it in him. So, GG, well played. Will be a fun final tomorrow. Okay, hold on. There was chatting afterwards. So, and these two also are good friends. So, keep that in mind with some of the chatter here. So, there was GG. GG, well played. Good luck. Lewis says, thank you, bro. Hart says, lost to pathing. Effing hell. Lewis says, yeah. I think we can assume... I think some of us can maybe guess what Hart tried to say there. Chat filter actually came in clutch. And then Lewis is probably saying it was a really tight gap there, which it didn't let him say. And he says it's disgusting. And then Hart says, GG, win tomorrow, dog. And Lewis says, I will try. Thanks a lot. So, yeah, a little bit of chatter between the two of them there at the end. Lewis and Hart have played lots of practice games together and to know each other very well.